We found out about Fansbet when they attended a Supporters Direct function, and Kevin Graham, who's the co-host on A Celtic State of Mind, spoke to them about the possibility of us getting involved with Fansbet. He liked what he saw, he liked what he heard, and then we organised a meeting a few weeks after that. We realised straight away that the people working for Fansbet were passionate football fans, first and foremost. And we spoke to them a few times. They explained how the whole ethos of the company was to give back to football fan initiatives. We loved that idea, so that anyone who was already betting, and however much they would maybe win or lose, if we were to put that to Fansbet, at least any losses would then be fed back into football. And they give us some examples about clubs in England where they've helped to finance safe standing sections in stadiums. They've helped to resurrect football fanzines that had gone out of print. And that kind of old school approach really appealed to A Celtic State of Mind. We trust Fansbet. I know that there is a huge debate regarding football and betting, and what we realised quite soon after meeting the Fansbet staff was that they were involved in the company to ensure that money was actually put back into football fan initiatives. So we trust them, they're transparent, they are fans, so it's by fans for fans. We, Celtic State of Mind, are involved with various other Celtic fan initiatives, but there are various drawbacks of running a podcast in relation to costs. So the first thing that we want to do is to maximise the content creation that we currently provide. So that will be in relation to more podcasts, more video footage. We're building a dedicated website and app, and people will see far more coming from the ACSOM stable. We also hope to involve other initiatives. So people that we already know are people like Celtic Greats, the Jimmy Johnston Academy, and various others. So we hope to look for opportunities to reinvest the Fansbet money into these other Celtic fan initiatives. Fansbet have given us good guidance and good advice on how to grow A Celtic State of Mind. We did a joint event in Glasgow over the weekend of the recent Celtic Rangers game, where we had a special guest in Brian McClare, who's a Fansbet ambassador, and we did a live podcast where we spoke to Brian for 2 hours, and it was all set up via Fansbet, who filmed the entire event. There was prize raffle giveaways, etc. on the day. So they've assisted us in relation to live events. They've also allowed us to attend other events that they're involved in, like the Star Sixes that was held in Glasgow in January. We were given full access to go and record interviews and watch the action. A Celtic State of Mind was born out of a frustration on my part that every time I wrote a book, I interviewed roughly 50 ex-players or people who were involved in and around Celtic, but the fraction of those interviews that actually made it into the final cut was minimal, and I thought that there should be a platform to put a lot of this content out there, because the interviews were so interesting that Celtic fans would want to hear them. So it was in the back of my mind when I was promoting one of my books. I was asked onto a few podcasts, and I realised that was the platform where A Celtic State of Mind could flourish. Following that, I was introduced to Kevin Graham, and we decided to embark on what has become A Celtic State of Mind. The whole ethos of ACSOM is to get under the skin of Celtic fans. It doesn't matter if they are ex-players or people who have worked in the film industry or the music industry. We want to hear their stories, and the Celtic fans want to hear their stories. The podcast started off around my kitchen table, and we gradually built it up to a point where we We record in a professional studio and have the sound mixed to ensure that the quality of each podcast is top notch. From there we have won a national award, UK's Best Football Podcast at the Football Blogging Awards in 2018, and we've also managed to secure a partnership with Fansbet, which was a huge boost for us. And from there we are hoping to reinvest all our funds in creating more original content. The biggest difficulty in any kind of content creation is cost. So we wanted to record in a professional studio, and obviously that costs money and as well as your time, and the associated costs of building websites and apps and the equipment that you require to create this content. So that was the biggest issue that we faced, and the partnership with Fansbet has allowed us to do that. Celtic Greats are a group of ex-players who probably every month now play against a group of ex-Rangers players, and they take the game all over Scotland. They're like the Harlem Globetrotters, but just at junior football parks in Scotland. I was asked to play as a guest, and so I played 2 or 3 games, and I was playing alongside players like Bobby Petter, Rudy Vata, Simon Donnelly and Craig Beattie. I got more involved because they needed new strips, and I seen that as an opportunity for a Celtic state of mind to use the Fansbet partnership, not only to buy the new strips but to sponsor them. So ACSOM now appears on the jerseys of the Celtic Greats. It's quite similar in standard to the Star Sixes, because we have Simon Donnelly playing for the Celtic Greats, and he played for Scotland in the Star Sixes at the Hydro, and the ex-Rangers are made up of players like Charlie Miller, who is the captain of the Rangers Greats. So in terms of a standard, I think it's roughly the same standard, but it's an 11-a-side game. It's very competitive. In one match, Alex Rae had Simon Donnelly by the throat. So they may have retired many years ago, but the competitive edge is still there. If Fansbet weren't involved with a Celtic state of mind, we simply wouldn't be able to fund the sponsoring of the Celtic Greats jerseys. We now attend every game and cover it on social media, Twitter especially. We announce the teams, we do live updates, and we hope to continue to build and grow with the Celtic Greats thanks to Fansbet. Having written books that were based before I was born, there are people that I'm fond of from Celtic's past who I didn't see playing. Neely Mockin being an obvious one because I wrote his biography, but also George Conley, who came from the same mining village that I'm from. But in terms of the player that I watched, my favourite all-time Celt is Paul McStay, the maestro. I seen my first Celtic game in the flesh in 1987, and that was the beginning of the centenary season where we won a memorable double. The moment that always sticks in my mind and in many Celtic fans' minds when they think back to Paul McStay was in the New Year's Day game against Rangers, where he picks the ball up in the centre circle, pirouettes and plays an incredible pass to Chris Morris, overlapping full-back, crosses it in, McAvenny scores. We won the game 2-0. It was one of the most pivotal moments of that season, and Paul McStay is quite simply the greatest player I've ever seen playing for Celtic.